happy Monday, start of a new week. Hope you're excited and you had a nice restful weekend. Let's get started on science. We're going to be talking more about shadows and how shadows can be made. Remember we talked last week about how when the sun moves across the sky, it made the trees look like they were moving, but really it was just that the light from the sun was starting in a different place in the sky that moved the shadow. Today we're going to read more about light and shadows. Some objects block light. Trees block light. You block light. The place where light does not reach is dark. That place is called a shadow. Remember last week we were talking about how light can go right through a window. That's why you can see what's on the other side. But light can't pass through this dinosaur puzzle. And so when light shines on it and stops here at the wood, on the other side, it creates a dark spot because the light can't go through, and that's called a shadow. It's the dark shape that forms when an object blocks light. Shadows form wherever objects block a light. These dinosaurs are blocking the light. You can see their shadows. The dinosaurs are different shapes, so their shadows are different shapes too. A shadow is shaped exactly like the object that made it. So see how this dinosaur has a flat head, and so does his shadow. And this dinosaur, the Triceratops, has horns, and so does his shadow. So let's see what we're looking at here. See this shadow on the pool? Which of these things could have made that shape of shadow? Well, it doesn't look like it has wings, so it can't be that bird, right? And it has curvy lines, so it doesn't have these pointy parts like the leaf. It is round like the apple. Could it be the apple? I don't think so either, because this has an open space in the center, doesn't it? So let's say we think maybe it's the pool float. It's round, and it has this open space in the center that is letting some light pass through, and that's why we don't have a shadow in the middle. Think we're right? Yep, that's the right one. So now you're going to do exactly the same thing. You have this page in your workbook. It has a bunch of shadow pictures, and all you have to do is read the words on the side and match the picture of the shadow to the thing you think that made it. Okay? Not too hard. And then let's go on to our math book. Today we're going to be talking more about composite shapes. Remember that I told you that just like the word compound word means we took two words like dog and house and we put them together to build the new word doghouse. And rain and bow would make a new word rainbow. And the new word is called a compound word. If I take two shapes and build them together into one larger shape, just like a compound word, these are composite shapes. So let's take a look at page 667 in your math book. And on this page, it says to use two pattern blocks together. Now again, you might not have pattern blocks at home. So I looked around the house and guess what I found? I found some small candles. I found a box of dental floss. I found a nail polish, and guess what all those things made for me? When I put them down on the paper, the box of dental floss made a rectangle when I traced it, and the nail polish made a circle when I traced it, right? So look around the house and find some small items that you could use for tracing shapes, and then build yourself a picture here, okay? Inside, these are what the pattern blocks would have looked like, okay? So we used a trapezoid and a triangle. We put the triangle on top and made a large triangle, right? But watch what happens. If I take this green triangle and I move it down here over to the side, instead now what I have is a new shape. The name of this shape that looks like a rectangle that's leaning over to the side. See how the rectangle is not standing up straight? It looks like it's tipping over. Now it's called a parallelogram. See that? And I can make a parallelogram by putting a triangle beside the trapezoid instead of on top of it. And then over here, you have another trapezoid and you have a blue rhombus on top of it. What other shape could you make? Well, you could, first you're going to circle that you used the rhombus and the trapezoid. But what if you moved this down here or turned it over on this side or slid it under the bottom? What new shape could you make then? Okay? Same thing here. You're just going to draw something else that you could make if you moved these shapes around. Now, I know that's going to be challenging for some of us if you don't have these shapes. Just try to use your imagination, or I have a great idea. You might want to get a piece of paper, lay it right on top of this, and trace these and then cut them out. And then you'd be able to move them around on the table like puzzle pieces, and then you could build yourself a new shape, and you could put them, draw a picture of what you made. In fact, I do have a page of pattern blocks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on our class dojo. If you can print it and cut them out, that would be really helpful for you. You could slide them around on the table like puzzle pieces. Okay? If you can't, just do your best. It's going to be easier than you think. All right? Now look, Alex, you're in this story. You have a hexagon. If you cut it apart into a trapezoid and 3 triangles, what would it look like? Well, let's see. I could go right across here. If I drew a line right across the middle, right? Wouldn't that make it, there's my trapezoid? Let's see if I can do that. I could put a line right across the middle, just like this. It's very hard on the computer. And now I've got a trapezoid here, don't I? And then I could also, it says use 3 triangles. Watch. 3 triangles. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And a trapezoid. Okay? So that's what you need to do on there. And explain what you did. Well, first you cut it in half, right, to make the trapezoid. And then you cut the other trapezoid into 3 pieces to make triangles, didn't you? And that's what you're going to write down there. Okay? And then the homework page is so much easier than the rest, okay, because you've been given all the pictures you need. You just need to circle the parts that were used to make it, okay? And by now you're probably ready for a little break. This is a really nice story you're going to enjoy. It's called All Kinds of Children. Remember, we've talked many times during the year about just how boring the world would be if everyone looked exactly the same. Well, this is a really good story about all different kinds of children and why it's fun to have as many different kinds of friends as we can possibly find. All right? So when you finish and you stop for a little snack break, come on back and we'll look at some Super Kids practice for today. See you soon.